We are in Chapter 3, Section 4, talking about state constitution and local charters. It's really important to think about the fact that besides the 50 states, we have all the other parts of our country that live under the Constitution. Some of these things are called territories, some of them are commonwealths. Think at the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, the Northern Marianas, and Guam. While everyone lives under the reign of the U.S. Constitution being the supreme law of the land, most people also live under the place where there's a state constitution or a local charter. In addition, the people who live on Native American or Alaska Native lands have their own unique legal framework. Living under this national constitution as well as a state constitution is a fundamental aspect of political life in America. So to look at the state and local governments and their branches, it's important to understand that they're structured very much like the United States Constitution, having a legislative branch, an executive branch, and a judicial branch. Same thing in Pennsylvania. We have in our Commonwealth, our executive branch would be the governor, legislative would be the House and the Senate, and then the judicial branch, of course, would be the court cases that are heard at the level. The one term that I want you to understand through this section, and this is going to be a very short lecture, is the idea of the Supremacy Clause. And what the Supremacy Clause says is no matter what law is written, it could be null and void if it violates the Constitution, meaning that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So what I found was this chart here. Article 6, Clause 2 in the Constitution establishes the Constitution as the supreme law in the land, which means every law has to somehow come under that umbrella of the Constitution, and nothing can come outside of it. Second would be the acts of Congress and treaties. Third would be state constitutions. Next would be state statutes and city orders. So if you had some kind of an idea like a city order that had some type of violation of the Constitution out here, it would be null and void. States and local governments operate in a similar way we do. And we'll talk about this in more detail. But again, the idea is the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and all other laws below it fall underneath the fact that it has to either support the Constitution or it cannot exist.